Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one person or one starfish at a time. As always, guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share. That's how we get the word out about what we do. I'm excited for our guest today, Aftann. I think I said that right.
Afton, yep.
Yeah, Aftann and I just met. As you can probably tell, this lady has been in the personal training world for over 23 years, so that's impressive. She doesn't look like she's 23, so that's pretty cool. Family lady, came from Wyoming, has been in Florida, and now in California for the last 20 years. Her goal was to, train celebs, which is kind of cool. We'll touch on that. I'm excited. But personal training, nutrition coaching across the United States, across the world, or just in the United States.
Across,
You mostly.
across this is the United States right now. Who knows where?
I was like,
20,
where are we
23
going with
more
this?
years.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, welcome to the show. Excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's get into things. So you were telling me before, so you grew up in Wyoming. I've been to Wyoming. It's kind of like nowhere.
Right?
It's like total cowboy country. Were you
Yes.
raised like on a farm? Curious.
No, you know what? I was raised in the city, which is,
Okay.
I
Rare.
mean, right, small. The city was about 50,000, but it's funny
So
because
small.
every summer I did get sent back to North Dakota where all my family, grandparents all lived, and they had a dairy farm and a cattle farm. And so I every year I went back there. And so it was kind of a mix of both. So now I'm really living the city life down here in California.
Yeah, I was going to say you went from one extreme to the other because I've definitely
I
been to
did.
California too. That's really cool. That's adaptable. So yeah, and then you went to Florida for a bit, and that's where like kind of life started to change for you and got you in the personal training space, from what I gather. If you want to tell that story, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I moved down there. My friends were like, let's move to Florida and be grown up in Wyoming. I don't think Florida, I think California, right? And I said, well, what do we get to do down there? And they said, well, we're going to work. And I said, okay. And they said, and then we're going to party. And I said, okay, because I was really young. And then they said, and we're going to lay on the beach. And I said, I'm in, let's go. So we
Yeah.
all, five Wyoming girls, we all went down there and we were
Oh my
living,
gosh.
and I needed a job. And so I was walking just through this, strip mall, and I see this now hiring sign, and I'm like, oh, what's this? I peeked in there, and there was this lady in there, and I said, you're hiring? What is this? And she said, it's Curves for Women. I said, I don't know what that is. And she said, you know what? I think you'd be perfect for it. And I mean, that was it. She didn't talk to me anything. She said, come in here. Let me show you what it's all about. And I started working at Curves for Women. And that's, for those you don't know what Curves for Women is. It was a franchise 30-minute workout for women who really didn't ever work out, who, very overweight, older. And it was just a circuit workout, and it built a lot of community. And, women, they saw a lot of results from it, and I just was like, I have to do more of this. What else can I do? And so I went to my local gym, and I saw this trainer in there. Wyoming, they didn't have trainers. I don't know, we're behind up there. In Florida though, and I said, how do I get into this? What do I do? I have to do this. And he said, you got to go get a certification and all this. And so I did. And fast forward, I got into nutrition. I got certifications in nutrition as well. And I was out there, and I said, okay, I'm moving out to California now, and I'm going to go train celebrities. Haven't gotten there yet, but I'll tell you what, I trained some really great clients that are, amazing, and I'm happy with it. And I just love what I do.
That's awesome. And now you have a family. I'm just curious, did you meet your hubby then when you came to California or before?
I did. I met him the old
Okay.
fashioned way in a bar, but,
Okay. Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, so I made him that. Yep. So yeah, and we've been married for about 13 years in September. It will be 13 years this year. So
Wow, that's
for
so
two kids,
cool.
I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Wow, that's so cool. So your journey led you to the love of your life too, and your family, which is neat how that works, and be
Yes.
willing to change and move and grow, where a lot of people aren't. They're just, kind of get stuck in wherever they're at. And then, so when did you start running your own personal training business and nutrition business? When you moved to California, is that when you basically like are on your own and now you're an entrepreneur?
Right. So I moved out to California. I didn't have a client, didn't know anybody out here. And I remember I hooked up with this lady, and she said, if you start working for me, I have some clients. I have a client for you. You can go down to Laguna Beach and train her. At that time, it was a 40-minute drive for me. But I was like, I have no clients. Where do I start? So I remember I would get up every morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning, drive down to this one client, 40 minutes down, 40 minutes back, train the whole hour, and she would pay me
I was going to say you get
$20.
20
And I'm
bucks,
like,
right?
looking back, I was young. And I was young, and I was hungry for clients. And, looking back, I'm like, what? How stupid was that? But it was cool to go up into the Laguna Beach house. It's beautiful, house, all that. And so I started, and I just started. I started from the ground. I did free workouts. I did boot camps in the park. I, started at this one gym, and they fed me one client. I had one client for so long, and I advertised Craigslist. Craigslist was really big back then.
Yep.
Did that. And boy, I'm telling you, I worked at different gyms. And back then I had more time too. And I just hustled. And I think about that, how much I have grown from. Now I have a waiting list with clients. Um, yeah, I'm just so blessed and again, I love what I do. And so yeah, my husband's like, we're gonna, move, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard to get here, but now I have a waiting list. Everything's referral based, and so yeah, I've come a long ways in those years. So I've been out here for 20 years training. I started in Florida and there, and then that's so about 3 years there, and then came over here.
So what did your family and those closest to you think of you, venturing off to California, don't really know anybody, you're going to go be a personal trainer to the celebs. And then like, basically you're working for free. And, I'm guessing it was like, you're lucky to have a room of like house over your head if you're making that kind of money, 20 bucks for that much work.
Right,
Um,
right. No, I know.
so
I know my
what
dad.
did they think? And did you have like a lot of opposition, I guess? And how did you work through that?
I didn't. My family's very supportive. I've always kind of bounced around. I grew up in Wyoming, moved out to South Dakota for a while. I went to college in South Dakota for a few years, moved to Washington for a year, down to Florida. So they know I was living the dream, I think, really, like just bouncing around and having a good time. My dad, I remember him saying to me, you can't live out in that rat race forever. Again, growing up in Wyoming and here, and now look who's visiting me. My parents now, they're like, can we come down to California and stay with you? But
I love it.
you just make it work. I don't even know. I think back to it. I'm like, how much money did I need to survive and all of that? But you make it work. Um, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of people thought like, oh, she won't last out there that long. I really enjoy my lifestyle. I like it. I have a really good work-life balance. I have my kids. I work with clients in the gym 3 days a week. I'm fully stacked with clients. And then on these days, like today, this is a day where I'm working with all my online clients today. So they all, for all over, I have clients in Florida, Texas, Wyoming, North Dakota, all these places, and they, send me check-ins, and I do, work with them on their diet and their nutrition, and just kind of coach them up on how to get how we keep moving forward and what we need to do. So, it's so awesome.
And how long, if you think back, because it's been 20 years, so I mean, try to think back. I don't know if your brain works like mine. It's kind of slow sometimes, now at this age. But if you think back, like how long did it actually take of that flat out hustle? Because you were hustling
Right.
before you actually started feeling like, wow, I'm actually making money. This is actually working. That kind of actual feeling of like less hustle and more like it's working.
Right. Shoot, it probably took me 10 plus years, especially because I moved out here right when we had that recession. It was around 2007, right? It was right in all of that area. So actually I said I'm out here for 20 years now. See, now I'm lying. People are like, are you telling the truth? So 19 years out here, right? Because it was about 2007 I moved out here. And that's when the economy we were having that, was the real estate. and I'm the first to go when the economy goes bad.
Yeah.
You know, personal
Yeah.
trainers are. And so that people were cutting back on their trainers. Here's the one thing though, great thing about Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach, there's a pocket of wealth here, which is a nice thing. So there, I still had, you know, a client here and a client there, but I would say it took me about 10 years to really build up a decent clientele to where, but now I'm at it now. It was only probably last 5 years where now I got a waiting list. So I
Oh.
have 6 a.m. I run some groups too. So I do one-on-one personal training. I do have a few small groups where again, I just don't have the space for them. So
Oh,
it's a good feeling.
most people would quit. Most people
Right.
would quit. That's a long
And
time.
maybe that's the reason too, and I think about that too, that personal training, you know, you gotta be able to work with any kind of personality. You have all these different types of personalities, and I like that. I can talk to anyone. You know, I really am I make people sweat for a living, but I'm also a professional socializer too. They come in, they tell me everything, but I don't hang out with them on the outside, but I know all about their whole life.
Right.
So yeah, but it's
So what are
again,
some things that kept you in the game that you remember? I mean, you obviously wanted it bad, but did you do a lot of personal development, reading associations? Like what were some of the things that, would help someone if they're listening to this and they're just getting going and they're in the hustle and grind phase, that keeps them in the game so they can get past that phase?
I would say you got to ask yourself if you absolutely love it. Do you love this? Because it is a hustle, and honestly, you think personal trainers don't make that much money. I know celebrities, you know, actually what they charge to train celebrities. I know that, but you got to have multiple clients going throughout the day.
Yeah, it's hard
Um,
work.
you got to really enjoy working with people because you are on from session to session to session, and you're going to work with different personalities. You're going to have different people. And if you don't love that, then I would say this might not be the thing for you. But I will say for a trainer first starting, I think the best thing a trainer can do, and I coach up a lot of trainers coming in. You got to start working out a membership gym, because when you're there, like let's say 24-hour fitness or a LA fitness or something, you have people walking through the door constantly and you're in their face right there, and they see you, and you know, so those people are going to need a trainer. And so it's nice to have that, and you don't have to grind so hard trying to market and all of that. So that is a plus. I always tell trainers to start there, because you go get your certification or whatever it is that you get your certification, and now they teach you you know, how to train people, but they don't teach you how to get clients. Getting clients is the hardest part. And so, you know, I think starting out a membership gym, building your clientele, getting your name out there, and then you can always move to a private gym. And so I did a little bit of that. It was an all women's gym in Newport Beach when I first moved here. I was working in Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. So I was just driving constantly, just going. I was doing home training, anything I could get my hands on. And then finally it starts working out, because then you start getting referrals and if you're in the game long enough, a lot of people are going to drop out too. They go, this just isn't for me. But luckily for me, I do love it, and I have a husband that's very supportive, and he lives the lifestyle too. I mean, I enjoy working out. That's the other thing. You got to enjoy working out. I enjoy eating healthy. I love all of this. Like, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not reading something that's going about health and nutrition and or listening to something. So I'm constantly in it, and but again, I love it. So
Yeah, and so if anyone's listening, whether you're a personal trainer or not, because a lot of you probably aren't becoming personal trainers, but the question, I mean, to take what she just said is, do you love it? Do you love it enough to do the hustle and grind for 10 years and not see a result, really? And
right.
that's, I mean, you'll see little glimmers, but to really start to feel any momentum, and they say 5 years, so 5 years is like minimum, 10 years probably pretty common. So whatever you're doing, how much do you love it, and are you going to be able to stick with it? And if not, like if you're just in it for the money, whatever it is you're doing, might not be the best thing that you're in, and maybe you should be an employee and not an entrepreneur. Just speak straight up
Right,
here,
right.
because
Absolutely.
you need to love it
Absolutely.
enough that it's not about the money, and then the money will follow. but it's a
Yes.
byproduct of everything else. And you have to, like, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're just reaffirming that. That's entrepreneurship 101. I don't care what industry you're in, I
Right.
don't care what you do. That's, entrepreneurship 101. So let's go into nutrition a bit because that's something that you do. So I'm curious, are there some things that obviously like, and guys, if you want to, reach out, get on the waiting list, we'll have all of Aftann's information in the show notes, of course. But what are some things that people don't do? Like, what's one of the most common things? I don't know if this is even a thing, if it's like so broad, but that people do that they shouldn't do, or that they should do that they don't do when it comes to actually proper nutrition.
Hmm. Dude, gosh, there's so much to be said about that. Let me see. I think the biggest thing is we overestimate how many calories we burn and we underestimate how many calories we eat.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who, just have one thing that a lot of my clients do, myself included, I do this for a living and I fall short on a lot of things. And, people, I eat really healthy, and I know I don't doubt a lot of people do, but often I eat really healthy, but I can't lose weight. Well, one big thing is just because you're eating healthy doesn't necessarily mean that you're not overeating calories, because I have clients who just they take handfuls of nuts and they use a lot of olive oil, and those are very healthy foods, but you got to remember that just one small tablespoon of olive oil is about 120 calories. And when we're sauteing veggies or we're doing baking or whatever, I promise you, most people are not using 1 tablespoon of olive oil or handfuls of nuts. Those are 400, 500, 600 calories, just handfuls. Or peanut butter. Everybody loves peanut. Well, most everyone loves peanut butter, and they do like tablespoons of peanut butter. Well, one tiny tablespoon of peanut butter is 100 calories. So, I mean, those calories add up. The other thing that adds up, and I think everyone's pretty guilty of this, or I call them BLTs, bites, licks, tastes, and sips. Throughout the day, we'll have a little bite here, we have a little lick here, especially if you have kids, you're finishing your kids. Oh, mom, I don't want the rest of my chicken nuggets. No problem. And then, you're eating them.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, if you add up all those BLTs, you're looking at hundreds of calories. So, that's one place I start with my clients. Here, really watch your BLTs, your bites, your licks, your taste. Start measuring things. See what really a tablespoon of peanut butter looks like. Just take the time to educate yourself. See what a tablespoon of olive oil looks like, because again, healthy foods, but those calories add up, and that's why a lot of people, they can't lose weight. The other thing too is I have a lot of clients that eat very well throughout the week because it's structured. And then on the weekends, they, let loose. And they're like, gosh, I do, they dig a hole all week doing very well. And then every weekend they just cover it in, and they wonder why they're not progressing. And that's a reason why too. So those are the big things I see
Mm.
with people.
Yeah, those are definitely, I could see those being things. One of the things that I know I had to work on personally and still probably do is having enough protein.
Oh gosh. And there's
Hence,
protein in everything now. Everything. Yeah.
and
Protein's hard. I have this conversation all the time. A lot of clients, again, they're checking in today, and I'm going to coach them through. And a lot of women, especially women, we fall short on protein. My biggest tip with that is you got to start your day out with a high protein meal. Start your breakfast, try to make it, 30, 40 grams of protein. What I like to do is I like to make oatmeal, and a couple days a week I'll do oatmeal, like 1 or 2 scoops of protein powder in there, and I mix it in there. It's like a chocolatey protein. Or I'll do eggs and add in some meat that I cooked, whether it be, chicken and beef, ground turkey, anything, and I mix that up. And so that will give me about a 30, 40 gram protein breakfast. What that's going to do is it's going to, number one, curb your appetite for pretty much for the rest of the day. You won't be as hungry. You're not going to have as many cravings, and you're starting your day out high on protein so that you're not playing catch up by the end of the day. I like to give my clients a protein target so that, you know, that by the end of the day, if your protein target, let's just say for even numbers, is 100 grams of protein, and that's what you need to hit, they get to the end of the day and they're like, shoot, I've only had, say 80 grams of protein. Well, their last meal of the day is going to definitely be high protein. It's not going to be cookies or chips or ice cream like we typically snack on at night. So, yeah, protein, it's really having a massive moment, and it should, because it helps people lose weight. It helps people build muscle and get strong and lose fat.
Yeah, like I said, that's definitely something I've had to work on because I don't do protein powder, I don't do sugar, I don't do dairy, I don't do eggs, I don't like I'm on a really, really strict diet and lifestyle. It's not really a diet, it's a lifestyle. And so it's taken me a
Right,
bit because
right.
like someone's like, you need to eat 2.5 cups of ground beef a day because I was eating ground beef. I'm like, okay, I ate it one day and I was so full. I'm like, I can't even eat another day. Like I fast the next day because I was like still full for like 2 days. So I'm like, how can I do this? And so I figured out like chickpeas and pumpkin seeds
That's
and
good.
sunflower seeds. I
Yep.
use ChatGPT. Hopefully they told me right
Yeah.
of how
Yep.
to get like that 100 grams that you're talking about. And yeah, I've been feeling really good. It's been like I just eat the same thing every day. And I'm like, this is just my new life. But I hear a lot of women, I posted that once, a lot of women were like, wow, how do you get enough protein? And I was like, yeah, I didn't really realize how important it was until ChatGPT told me how important it was.
Yep.
And I was
Wait,
like, oh, it's really important.
it
So
is, and that is just like you said. To your point, you said, you ate that ground beef and you were so full, and that is, and protein fills you up. It keeps you, it creates a lot of satiety. And so if you were to eat like ground beef versus, let's say, croissant, the ground beef is definitely going to fill you up longer. And also, uh, you know, uh, protein has a thermogenic effect, meaning it burns more calories when we digest it. But yeah, it fills you up. So it really is. I fall short on it. I have a protein target too, and I do this for a living. I fall short. It's hard. It really is hard to get your protein in.
yeah, that's what I'm like. I have all my food like in the morning and I'm like,
Yes.
I eat a lot. And they were like, you eat a lot. I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying to get all my protein in. Like,
Right.
it's like intense. But like I said, I probably feel the best I've ever felt. So I'm like, okay, there's something to this.
Awesome.
Do you
Yes.
do you work with like, I just had mentioned before that I got diagnosed with MS in 2019. I'm just curious, I love doing podcasts because where I get to ask questions and learn. Have you worked with
Yes.
many people that have like an autoimmune like MS or MS itself or whatever? Um, do you work with many of them? And if so, what do you find different? Because I've worked with some and I hear different stuff, so I'm just curious. What do you find different in the working out or the eating or the whatever that helps them, I guess, succeed in life better if that's someone you've ever kind of worked with, I guess.
I've never worked with anyone that has MS. Haven't done that. I've worked with somebody who has an autoimmune disease, and
Okay.
she always is inflamed. And what it really is a trial and error, because there right now the food sensitivity tests are really big, and you can look at that and you can get it tested. I did it, and it really does come down to trial and error. But what I can say this, and this might not be for everybody, but ultra processed foods not good for anybody who has autoimmune.
I don't think it's
Anything
good
that
for
comes in
anybody, let's be honest.
right, anything that comes in a bag that has a barcode, um, you know, it, I would say eliminate that, because that's what I find. I mean, you feel so much better when you're eating real whole foods. And I have a lot of clients who, they're scared of eating fruit. Well, fruit's bad because of the sugar, but but there's so many. I don't know anyone that ever got fat or felt bad because they ate an apple, right? You feel better, you have more energy, your digestion's better, you look better when you're eating real whole fruits and vegetables. So it's I guess I didn't really answer your question there. I'm going off on it
No,
but
good.
so no, I haven't worked with anyone with MS. I would actually, if somebody came to me, I would push them out and refer them out to a dietitian, and have them work with, because that's a serious autoimmune disease. And yeah, so no.
Well, I love that. I will tell you this, if you do run into it, because I have learned this might be helpful. MS, and I believe like probably lupus, a lot of, like I said, other immunes, even the one you're kind of working with. One of the things that I learned is we work out differently. So it's like more like the lady was like, it's like an Olympic athlete, what I think made me feel better. But I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but like really fast and then breaks, like a lot of
Mm,
breaks. So normal people go in and say you run and you push through the pain, you keep going, and that's where like you
right,
apparently grow. If we do that, it actually kills us more. So it like slows
oh,
down the progression. So if we get to that point of complete exhaustion, we push too far. So it's like
right,
pushing and stopping. So like when I went through physio on it or whatever, it was like really, really fast on the bike and then like a minute break and then like really fast and then like a minute break kind of thing. So that it pushes it, but you actually don't get tired because if you get tired, you're pushing too far and then the wall
right,
starts
right.
coming back sooner. But yeah, as far as inflammation, what you said, that's definitely, I agree with that. Like I said, I've cut out all the things. Um, and
Yes.
yeah, and I just think nutrition, curious your thoughts. I just think there's a lot of health challenges out there happening. There's a lot of cancers, a lot of heart attacks, a lot of stuff happening, I would say on a more broad scale than it used to. At least that's what I see. Um, what do you think? What do you think about sugar and some of that being part of the contributing factor to kind of what's happening as far as some of these like major health challenges that are happening?
I think that a lot of things stems from our nutrition, like
Mm.
energy, disease, everything. As a matter of fact, my uncle, diagnosed with serious cancer, and I'm see him regularly, and I am just floored that when you go in and you have a serious disease, the first thing we should be doing is put you in with some kind of nutritionist, dietitian, something, and line you up with a really good healthy diet. I think it stems from diet, everything, gout, headaches. I don't know about your MS, but I do
Oh, huge.
believe, I don't know that it's all inflammation. I know I have arthritis. I know I feel so much better when my diet is on
Hmm.
point, when I'm
Yep.
drinking the right amount of water, when I'm eating real whole foods, when if I drink alcohol or I have like sugar, and I'm not talking about fruit. I'm not
Right.
going to
Not
go
natural
there with
sugar,
it.
man-made
I'm
sugar.
right. I'm exactly. I know I don't feel like I'm firing on all eights. Let's put it that way. I don't feel as good. And so I do believe that there is, eh, yeah, I do. I think a lot of this is caused by sugar. Yes. And other things. I think it's
Hmm.
again, the bad sugar.
Hmm.
Because when
Yeah, it's
I
not
say
the end all
sugar,
be all, but
I have a lot of clients who are they do not eat fruit because fruit is bad because it has sugar in it. But I don't believe that. I'm a very firm believer that no one ever got fat because they ate too many grapes. I don't know anyone that came in after the holidays and came in and said, "Oh, after my pants are tight because I really ate too many blueberries this over the holidays." It just isn't like that. So
right.
I think if we ate more fruits, that we would be healthier. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
As I've got a whole container of berries and my little chia seeds and whatever else right there.
I
Like,
love it. I love
I
it.
love that. I
Yes.
love that stuff. Berries, especially, I've looked into. They're just so good with antioxidants and whatever else.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so on the personal trainer side, what do you see as like a lot of people talk about wanting to get in shape? Round is a shape, but people talk about wanting to get into shape. What do you see as like a way to build a habit of, say, going to a gym? What are some tips that you would have seen like over we're in the beginning of the year and people make New Year's resolutions and probably by the time this is actually aired a lot of you guys will have stopped your resolutions but let's start again. um so what are some ways to continue those like those winning habits that you've seen that you like coach someone on?
I would say two things. Number one, the gym or wherever you're going, whether it's yoga, spin, it's got to be convenient because if it's far away, you're
Mm.
going to make every excuse not to go. One. And two, you got to like what you do. You got to enjoy it. It's people, I can sit here all day and tell you that strength training is what everybody needs. And there's a lot of ROI on that. But if you don't enjoy strength training, you're going to think of every excuse to cancel. So find something that you like. If it's just walking, that's what you like to do, go do that. If it's yoga, that's what you like, Pilates, spin, find what you like and go with that. Because again, the best workout isn't the best workout if you don't enjoy it, and you're going to look for every reason to cancel.
I will add to that. Sometimes just go do it anyway. Because
That is true too.
because
That is
I was
true
one of
too.
those
You got it
people that's like, I'm never going to a gym. I'm not a gym rat. I hate sweating, all this stuff.
right.
And then I was like, okay, you have to start going to the gym. And I still like I've been super consistent for, I don't know, we're coming on 3 or 4 years now
Nice.
and super consistent, but like, I still don't think I like it. Like, like
you,
I
you,
just do
you're
it because I have to. So,
Yeah, no, you're so awesome. I love that. I'm gonna do. You know what? Here's the thing too. If you anytime you're like, man, I don't want to go, because I mean, I've hit my alarm clock before. No, I don't want to go. I'm gonna get back in bed. Gosh, we never regret working out. There's never a time you walk out and go, gosh, I really wish I didn't work out.
no,
Everybody
it's true.
is always happy that they worked out. One, two, if you just get through the door, I think the hardest part is getting through the door. Once you're in, everybody does something. And a lot of times, if you don't feel like working out, if you just get to the gym, like you said, just get your butt up and go, and you start walking on the treadmill 5, 10 minutes, just say, hey, I'm going to walk for 5, 10 minutes. It's funny what it leads into. Okay,
Mm.
well, now I'm here. Now you're kind of warmed up, and then you'll go over here and do this. I enjoy it, so it's easy for me, but I have to remember there's a lot of people that, like you, that don't enjoy it. So you're right. Just get your butt up, get in there, because you'll never regret working out.
And I will say from, like I said, personal experience, I wish I'd done some of this stuff before because
Yeah,
once something happens, it's harder. And so build the habits while if you're listening to this, build the habits while you can. Like, it's
right.
better to be healthy and not like going to the gym than become unhealthy and then you have to go to the gym if you're ever going to move again, kind of thing. So, um,
Well, that
yeah.
is so true, right? So true. And it's
Yeah.
never too late. The studies are very clear now. They actually just did a really cool study with 90-year-olds, and I think it was 90 and 50-year-olds, and they took the 90-year-olds and the 50-year-olds, so they put them on the same workout routine, and they saw that the 90-year-olds built just as much muscle as the 50-year-olds. And I
Wow.
thought that was so cool. So it does not matter how
That's
old
cool.
you are to start a workout program, you can still build muscle.
And I
And
think
that's
that's where the
it.
personal trainer comes in because I was going to say accountability helps from my experience
Right,
of some sort and having a personal trainer because you have someone that's there. You're like, oh, I better show up. Aftann is actually
right.
waiting for
Yeah.
me. I should
Yeah.
probably go.
That's
You know,
and they'll charge you. A good trainer will charge you if you don't show
yeah,
up. So,
exactly. So like,
I hate saying that, but it does give you a little more accountability doing that.
100%.
You have to. So, yeah.
I think it makes a big difference, actually, like a massive difference. Like I said, if it's not a personal trainer, you're meeting a friend or something. I've heard lots of people doing that, but I have a checklist that like gives me points on an app. Andy
Oh, that's
Frisella
cool.
has,
I
and
like
so
that.
I get points. So then it's like an adrenaline rush,
Right.
and so or dopamine hit, I guess you could call it. And so like that helps me because I'm like I've
Yes.
got to check the box that I did my workout. I feel so
Yes, yes, yes.
so I love that. That's awesome. So in wrapping up, I always have three final questions and anything we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners. Like I said, everyone, reach out to Aftann. As you can tell, super approachable. There's a waiting list. Reach out. Maybe you have a small question. She can answer it, I'm sure. First and final question is if someone is looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you could say that could help them find it?
If they're looking for their purpose.
Yeah,
Man, that one's a hard one. I guess I got to go do what you love. Do what you love and pray. That's my
cool. I like that. Second one, what's a favorite quote and why?
um I don't know. The first shoot, I have so many quotes that I absolutely love.
That's why I say A. I learned not
Well,
to say
okay, so
your.
you know what? I got one. What we take for granted, other people are praying for.
Man, yep, I can
I'll stop
attribute to
there.
that
I
one.
think we can all get on board on that one. Yeah.
I'll add to that because that's something actually one of my friends and I were just talking about, and I sit on the beach and I'm super blessed. My life is amazing. And I watch someone run by and I walk with a cane. So I watch someone run by and I'm like, that used to be me. And I used to not even
Yeah.
think about it. I would just like tear up and down, run around, do the things, and yeah, enjoy what you have because you never know when it's going to go. So I
Right.
love that one. That's like really awesome. Third and final question is what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
Happy.
Happy. Oh, I like that.
Thank
That's
you. I'm
cool.
always happy. I'm always happy, and I'm like, am I happy because my life is good, or am I happy because I actually anything I try to look it's I try to
Well,
always look at the
and you work
positive in
out
everything.
and you eat healthy, and that does
Yeah,
help a
see,
lot
it's
with
because I eat
happiness.
healthy. That's why. It's
It
because
does.
see all the energy you can have for and be happy just by eating healthy.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's endorphin.
it's
Yeah,
true.
and going to the
I mean, it
gym,
really
like
is.
you do, like
Yeah,
legit. That's huge. All
right.
right, so you run into someone in a coffee shop, they listen to this and they're building a business and they know they got to put in the time, all the stuff we got to talk about today, which was awesome. What's something we didn't talk on that you think would be really impactful to leave our listeners with?
Oh shoot. Oh man. Gosh, I don't even know. You know, this is, I would say this health and nutrition thing, this is something you have to do for the rest of your life. You
Hmm.
don't ever get to be done. And so everybody wants to get, whether it's weight loss or get as health, they get out, you want to get as healthy as possible, as quickly as possible. But it doesn't work like that. It's so a lot of people set themselves up for failure because they're trying to get there as quickly as possible. And they do all, they're sprinting, sprint,
Hmm.
sprint, sprint to the finish line, and they wear themselves out before they even get there. And so I would say just take it day by day. A little bit more water than you drank yesterday, a little more protein than you did today. Did you work out yesterday? No, you didn't. Okay, you did, today's the day. Don't let 3 days go by without working out. Make that a rule. I can't let 2 days go by, whether it's even a walk or, go lift weights or whatever. But, think that this is whatever you decide to do, whatever diet you decide to, because everybody's always on a diet. Is it sustainable? Is this something you can do for the rest of your life? And
Hmm.
if it's not, then I would find another diet or find another workout program.
So good. I love that. Guys, make sure to follow Afton. Like I said, all our information will be in the show notes. I'm sure you'll learn a lot about nutrition and health and all of that kind of good stuff because it's good stuff. Like you said, it's never done. Let's go out there. If
Yeah.
we can change one life or one starfish at a time, together, we can help change the world. Thanks for being on, Afton.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate all of this.